Welcome to The Voiceover with your host, Dee Foster III, where we discuss relevant topics that affect the culture with bold, independent commentary. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and encouraged.
It's Friday again, and welcome to the Voiceover Now podcast. I'm your host, Dee Foster III, CEO and President of Wake Up Global Networks International. Come on in, you know the spill. Like, share, subscribe, follow. What a show you are in store for. Listen, before we get into today's topic, I want to make sure you're following us on social media. That's Wake Up Global Networks on Facebook, Wake Up Global Media on Instagram, and WGNINC on X, and the Voiceover Pod on TikTok. Listen, I want to say thank you so much for all of those of you that are tuning in each and every week. We are excited. We love doing what we're doing, bringing you information Sunday mornings at 7 o'clock right on this network, inspiring you. And then on Wednesday, the midday drop, the Voiceover Now audio podcast. Listen, I am so excited. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and following this channel and this show, putting this show in your context. You know, with all the shows we do, we're in touch with the culture. With all the shows we do, we talk politics. With all the shows we do, we talk culture, we talk family, we talk spirituality. But I told you that so many of you were enthused and encouraged by the show you saw 2 weeks ago about prophetic dreams for prophetic times. I decided I'm going to bring you into more of our spiritual teachings to show you just clips of what we experience every week with the Wake Up Global Tribe, and to bring you in to just show you that, listen, it is about spiritual growth. It's about spiritual development. It's about politics. It's about relevancy. It's about entertainment. And so we have a plethora of these topics. But today, I'm going to take you in and show you a snippet of a teaching I did last week entitled What to Expect During Your Spiritual Evolution. Everybody is here to grow. Everybody is here to expand. And in that process, there will be many, many experiences that you will grow through. But the topic of this, think it not strange. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back to tell you how you can get your own personal copy. Watch this. So to say I don't want any uncomfortability, but I want to evolve spiritually is like saying I want to have a child, but I don't want any uncomfortability. I want my life to be normal. There may have been one or two people like that, but we know that's not the norm. You're going to have swelling. I'm just saying, some people do swell up. They do gain weight. They do have cravings. They are uncomfortable. They can't sleep. They can't. That's all a part of it. But here it is. It's not a permanent posture. It's only as I'm on my way somewhere. And the fact is, can I endure those 9 months of that uncomfortability to bring forth this beautiful God-given child that I'm about to birth? So is it worth it? Is the journey worth the destination? Is your journey worth the destination? I would say for me, my destination is much more valuable than the journey. In other words, what I have to endure is not compared to where I'm going to end up. But I'll never get there if I take or look for an off-ramp. Now, let me read this real quick. And like I said, my job today is just to encourage you. Many start out. And because, and this is where, and I try not to push this too much, but a few have really mastered that this is where having sometimes a mentor or a teacher with you to help you walk through these difficult moments. All of us we reach these moments where we feel like we can't go further. So I need someone who has broken through that to kind of walk me through, or to help me make sense of it, or to help me process. Because sometimes it's difficult to process even where I am or what's going on. I can't process this. This don't make sense. This is the first time I've experienced this. But think it not strange. Now, 1 Peter 4, this is where I got this from. 1 Peter 4, verse 12. It said, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials, which is to try you as though some strange thing happened to you." Verse 13, "But rejoice." I got a fiery trial. I got a challenge. Rejoice. "And as much as you are partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy." Now, let's pull apart two words here. I want to pull apart two words because these two verses really speak of spiritual evolution. These two verses really speak of spiritual evolution and not spiritual growth. The first word I want to focus on is fiery trials. Let me change that to uncomfortable tests for the purpose of evolution. Think it not strange when you're confronted with uncomfortable tests, not temps, tests, uncomfortable tests for the purpose of evolution. The reason that I can rejoice is because I understand the purpose of the test. The purpose of the test is to see how I am evolving. That is the purpose of the test, to see if I am catching the lessons. Life is lessons. Life will present lessons. Everything is a lesson. That relationship is a lesson. You said that relationship failed. It didn't work out. I'm disappointed. No, it's a lesson. So I'm going to be presented with another opportunity with a similar relationship to see if I've learned the lessons. That's right. The message. Don't jump to conclude that. Don't, this ain't the enemy. The devil is, no. Have I learned the lesson? And that is going to be the key. So the word is fiery trial. I like to say test. Have I learned? Am I comfortable being in uncomfortable situations? Because I'm telling you, that's the only way evolution takes place. And that is a test. Am I going to jump like the frog? Am I going to jump out of the water? You know the frog test. Or am I going to remain and pass the test? And it's never easy. It's never, now don't think I'm saying it's easy. No. It takes a determination. I'm deliberate about my destination. I'm deliberate about mastery. That's my life. I ain't got no off ramps. I done gave up. I done sacrificed. I can't go, ain't nothing to go back to. That's when you can really say, I'm serious about this thing. I don't have no spare hidden in case it don't work out. One of the things I was impressed with 50 Cent. I love 50 Cent. He's not even his music, his theology. He says a lot of good things. He said when he started his business, he said, I came from the ghetto. I came from nothing. He said, I ain't had no set. He said, this had to work. That's when you know you committed, when you say this has to work. I don't have no spare, nothing. I ain't got no religion to go back to. I ain't got no tradition to go back to. I forsook all. I'm like the disciples. They forsook all to follow Christ. I forsook all to follow destiny. I forsook all to pursue mastery. And you can say, put yours in there. I forsook all that wasn't serving me to be the best evolved version of myself that God intended. Can you say that? And in that, I have endured some stuff. But that was part of the process. Think it not strange. Think it's strange if you have no uncomfortable seasons. Think it's strange if you're not confronted with uncomfortable decisions. And a lot of my uncomfortableness has been decisions I've had to make that were very unpopular. See, those tests will come in different ways for everybody. Sometimes it'll come in the way of a decision. Let's see how you evolved. This decision is going to determine whether you're going back or whether you go forward. And sometimes the decision is so doggone uncomfortable. You know why? Because nobody's going to understand your decision. But how committed are you to the destination? How committed are you? I'm committed enough to be misunderstood. I'm committed enough to be misunderstood. Because there are no off-ramps. All right, so that's the first word, fiery trials. Let's turn that to test for the purpose of evolution. And it'll be hot, but that's all right. The next word that speaks of evolution there is suffering. Now, let's rephrase that because I want you to have a practical understanding of these words. What is suffering? Stability during uncomfortable tests. I'm stable while I'm uncomfortable. I'm stable. Because we have this sadistic, a lot of times, traditional definition of words like suffering. But this means sometimes you suffer when you're stable, when you're in the fire. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't jumping out. I ain't running. I ain't disappearing. I ain't in my feelings. I'm gonna have to wait this one out. I'm gonna have to stick this one out. I'm stable. I'm suffering, right? But that's okay. I got it. It ain't for nothing. See, this is maturity. And again, sometimes we call it being talked off the ledge. This is where you have a counselor, a mentor, somebody to help you process it, or just to listen, because you need to talk this out. I'm in an uncomfortable situation, but I ain't going nowhere. I ain't running. I want to, but I ain't. I feel like I don't know how long I'm gonna stay as long as I can. You know how you and what happens is it's kind of like getting in hot water. If you take a bath or if you get into a pool, when you first get ooh. But the more you settle in there, the more comfortable. Not that it ever becomes totally comfortable, but okay, I can bear it now. But if I jump out every time, I develop no tolerance for it. If I'm always running from it, I develop no tolerance for it. That's why today we have this, we and I don't know where, I'm not saying me, because I'm not in this, and I know a lot of you are not in it. I don't know where society is going to end up with, if I don't tell you everything you want to hear like you want to hear it, even if it's for your spiritual development, then it's negative. That's that dream thing you put in there. Because some things I need to hear for my spiritual growth and development, it's going to make me uncomfortable, even in hearing it. But I'll wait in it if it pushes me towards my destination, thinking that's strange. Don't pat me all the way down to nothing to spare me. Push me with your graceful words and let me know, okay, we probably could work on this. And And it'd be uncomfortable because now I got my ego first house to deal with when you said that. And I was going to get into that this week, but a lot of people can't move into the house of transformation, the eighth house, because they can't get out the first house. Most people live in the first house. I'm talking about the zodiac now. The first house of ego, self-identity, self-awareness. And they never, and I plan on teaching that, but I don't have time. We'll do that week after that. They never get to the eighth house because you got to go through the other houses. So they're stuck. Most people live in the first house, the house they're born in. And that is the house of self-identity. That is the house of the unhealthy ego. Because you don't have ego death until you start going around the chart, like dealing with the house of your family and your siblings. That's an ego death house where, you have those sibling rivalries, and you think you all of that until somebody real close to you who know you, who grew up with you, tell you you ain't all. See, but I'm gonna get into that next class because I'm not gonna have time. But that's a part of the spiritual evolution. But my point is, we live in a society today where we live in the first house, the house of I'm this. That's not a bad house. It's only bad if you stay there and don't evolve around the chart and end up at the 12th house. The house that's, now I'm in 5D because that's unconscious. The 12th house represents what's not seen. The 12th house represents what's hidden. And I'm in a different realm. But that's a process. Oh yeah, I could go deep in it. That's a process. So if I don't move out of the first house, that's the house I'm born into. I say the first house is the most immature house. That's the baby house. I need this. I'm not getting this from you. You're not giving me that. That's fine. That's what we're born into. The house represents our personality and how we identify with ourselves at that point in life. The house represents the strongest point of the unhealthy ego. And yet, most people get trapped in the first house. And you can tell people that are trapped in the first house. It's when those uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable conversations. You ever know people you say, I need to talk to you? You enjoyed that on the Voice Over That podcast, bringing you a snippet, just a snippet of what we experience in our spiritual classes. In this particular week, I was talking about what to expect during your spiritual evolution. People think it's going to be, love and light, and I'm doing this. And no. Sometimes there's going to be places of uncomfortability that we're going to have to stand in and endure in order to manifest the next level of growth. So I want you to know that it's not always just, oh yes, I'm walking through Wonderland. Oh yes, isn't God good? No, sometimes you're going to say, what did I get myself into? You can have this in your own library in its entirety. For your request, email us thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com. thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com. Next week, I want you to tune back in. I got a different topic, a different story, and guess what? I got a very special guest. I want to say thank you for joining us. Make sure you tune in on Sunday mornings, the Voice of Hope Connection, 7 a.m. Like, share, subscribe, and follow. And guess what? On behalf of Wake Up Global Networks and myself, I want to say thank you so much for being consistent followers. If you like it straight, no chaser, you're at the right place. It's Friday, 5 o'clock somewhere. Until next week, you have a voice. Keep using it. Peace.
Thank you for being a part of The Voiceover. Please follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay connected to our upcoming shows and guests. Instagram at The Voiceover Radio. Twitter at DPropheticI. That's the letter D, prophetic, EYE. If this show has enriched you in any way, please share The Voiceover among your circle. Until next time, keep allowing your voice to be heard.